I'm Jamie Wincup and welcome to B Street Smart Online. When young people think about road crashes, they might think about losing their licence if they get caught texting or worrying about the cost of fixing their car in a crash. What most people don't think about is the effect that might have on other people's lives. Today we meet two experts in brain injury rehabilitation and we talk to two of their patients that have changed their lives forever as a result of a crash. Let's start off by welcoming Margaret Doyle and Joe DeJesus, who work at the Westmead Brain Injury Rehabilitation Services in Sydney, and they are joined by two brain injury community educators, Qayyum Abdul and Tristan Kennedy. Margaret, first of all, can you tell us a little bit about the brain and how it works?
Thanks, Jamie. Let me introduce to you Fred the head, model skull and brain. The brain actually floats in about 2 cups worth of cerebrospinal fluid, which helps to cushion and protect the brain, a bit like the white of an egg protects the yolk. The brain itself is quite soft. It's about the consistency of margarine or jelly. And the inside of the skull has lots of hard and sharp irregular bony ridges, which can cause damage to brain tissue. It's a bit of a design fault, in fact. Different parts of the brain have different roles. Of particular relevance today are the brain stem, which manages many of your basic functions like breathing and swallowing, heart rate and blood pressure, and the frontal lobes, which are important for judgment, foresight and choosing appropriate behaviour.
So Joe, can you explain to us what happens to the brain in a car crash?
Yep, so usually in a car crash, your head is going to hit an object, particularly maybe the steering wheel or the dashboard, or sometimes the windshield. And the areas that can get affected are the areas that are likely to get impact, so the front of the brain, or even to the sides where you might hit the door or the A-frame of the vehicle. But even in some instances where you don't impact on any part of the car, the sudden forces of stopping can also affect the brain as well. So if we take the lid off here, we have in here the cerebrospinal fluid that's protecting the brain, but the high speed is still going to allow the brain to actually move within the skull, and you're going to actually hit the front inside of the skull or the back, or whichever way that the brain is moving. As a result, there's going to be loss of consciousness, drowsiness or confusion. Different people are affected differently, so the concussion could last up to 6 hours, but in some severe instances, you're going to get long-term neurological issues.
So how long would normal recovery take?
It's the old how long is a piece of string question. Not all brain injuries are the same, so not all recovery is going to be the same. Usually after the acute phase, when you're spending your time in emergency ICU and high dependency, once that medical acuteness is over and you're not so ill anymore, then it's time for rehab. We work in a specialised rehabilitation unit that looks after the brain injured clients, so we have a multidisciplinary team consisting of the medical staff, nursing, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, speechies, social work and sometimes clinical psychology is also involved. So important to note that although we're the inpatient staff, rehabilitation is ongoing and can occur long-term into the community as well.
So Joe, as a race car driver, we wear helmets. Does that help the effect of head injuries?
It does, but also as a race car driver, you are driving at incredible speeds. You do need something to protect your head. You've also got your specialised seat belts as well, which is not normal in normal passenger vehicles as well. But yes, it greatly lessens the impact that would occur normally from the brain hitting anything else.
Shall I slow down? That's okay.
You
The
won't win
boss is not going to be happy with
races.
that. Yeah. Margaret, you work in a community with people who have left hospital. What are the most challenging long-term difficulties after a brain injury?
Brain injury is sometimes called the invisible disability because people may make quite a good physical recovery, but they still have challenges such as fatigue, memory issues, poor planning and organising, and disinhibited impulsive behaviour, all of which can affect you at work, at home and socially, when people expect you to just be back to normal. Also, there are a range of outcomes. Today you'll hear 2 stories from some fabulous speakers, but some people remain so seriously injured that they can't share their stories at all and need 24/7 care in a nursing home.
Hey, I know Tristan has an amazing story. Tristan, do you mind sharing it with us today?
No, it's all right. I'll share with you. Hi, my name is Tristan. I went to Mandurah High and played football for the Airbo Tigers, and I was only 16. On the 14th of December 2007, I jigged school, which I often did anyway. I was riding a trail bike down Memory Road near Swanson Street with my mate Dwayne. We weren't wearing helmets, we thought we were too cool for that. The throttle got stuck and we got wiped out by a big semi-trailer. My friend Dwayne died soon after. I miss him every day, but his family do too. It's a great loss. I was knocked unconscious. My dad's friend saw the accident and called Dad and said, "I think your son has been in an accident." Dad raced down and saw it was me and Dwayne. My brain injury was the worst, but I also had lots of other injuries too. I had the works. Because of my brain injury, I have trouble balancing, running, and the right words to say. This is me in hospital. I had a neck brace and a tube to help me breathe, and another tube to drain fluid from the brain. I was fed through a tube. Luckily, I don't remember any of this. Christmas is normally good fun, but for that year and the next wasn't for me. My family spent Christmas with me in hospital, but I don't reckon they did fully. I was at the brain injury unit for 14 long months. I had been lifted in a sling, but I was 9 months before I was strong enough to even stand on my own 2 feet, but even then I still couldn't walk. It was a lot of hard work, and sometimes I just wanted to give up, but I had no choice. I had to learn to eat and drink again. The juice was thickened, so I could swallow it. And it was like jelly and it was gross. I didn't think that I'd be going home then, but I did get there eventually. It felt like a miracle. My carers used to help me with showering and dressing, but now I can do this on my own. I still need a carer to get me to places and try new stuff. My carer today is Stacey. In 2012, I went on a camp. I did things that I didn't think I'd be able to do. Now I have a son named Jaden. He's 3. I want to be a good father and show him the right tracks to go down. I have my own house now. I want my own space. It's about being independent and trying new stuff. I'm working in a factory a couple of days a week, which is great. I go to the gym with family and friends. Oh no, I meant family and family and friends. And I love seeing my boy. I just want you to know that silly decisions change lives forever. 9 years ago, look what happened to me. So be safe and remember, wear a helmet.
Amazing story, Tristan. What do you say to young kids that think it's too cool to wear a helmet?
Look what happened to me. If you can't understand, well, I'll show you. I can't do half the stuff that I was able to do before my accident.
What have you been able to do after the accident that you didn't think you'd be able to do?
I can do about 70%, but not 100%. I can work. I go to work. I go to the gym and hang out with some mates. Oh, but they're not really mates. They're my dad's mates and my carers.
Yeah. Is it difficult not being able to drive? And do you want to try to drive at some stage?
No, not really, because I could just see what happened with me one stage, and then I go do it again, and you could just imagine what could and would happen if I had another accident. So I've got a brain, and I'll use it.
Can you talk us how the accident may have affected your family?
My dad was devastated.
How's he going now? Is he all right?
He's doing better, but there's not much that I can say because I barely see him now.
Mate, really appreciate you for your time. Thanks for coming in and sharing your story.
That's all right.
Qaim Abdul, he has his own story. Qaim, do you mind sharing us your story?
No problem, mate. Good day, everyone. My name is Qaim Abdul. I was involved in a car accident on the 25th of April 2004, where I was 16 years and 9 months old, not even 17 yet. I was in year 12 at the time, and I wanted to be an industrial design for Honda. Before the accident, I was a young and outgoing guy. I organised an indoor soccer team for fun called the Untouchables. We came first 3 years in a row. I also coached junior soccer on the weekends. I loved skateboarding and was very physical. I had a lot of friends in high school. I'm a bit of a comedian and I love making people laugh, but I was also a leader in high school. Mum said I was an extremely responsible son and brother. On the evening of the accident, I had been at a family religious gathering where we were celebrating a 50th birthday. At about 6 p.m, I left with my cousin just to get a jumper. He was speeding, doing 95 kilometers per hour on a 50 zone. He lost control and hit a taxi and then a telegraph pole. He was not injured at all. A passenger in the taxi had suspected spinal cord injuries, and I got a brain injury that will be with me for life. I was resuscitated at Campbelltown Hospital and then care flighted to Liverpool Hospital, where Dr. Simon McKechnie saved my life. I was on life support for 2 weeks and in a coma for a month. I was in hospital for 361 days. I actually had 2 girlfriends before the accident, and they met for the first time when I was in ICU, both claiming to be my girlfriends. Luckily, I was in a coma. Otherwise, I would have been in trouble. Don't want to be a player. I was in post-traumatic amnesia for 5 months, and that means I was dazed and confused and had no idea what was going on. I turned 17 in the hospital without half my skull. I had no idea what was going on. I was in a wheelchair for 10 months. Every night I would ask my dad if I would walk again, and he would say yes. But the doctors were not so sure about that. I actually went to a year 12 graduation day. It was extremely sad for my family and I because I wasn't really a part of it. I didn't get to officially graduate. I learned to walk again. The day I took my first steps was very emotional. My mother cried, I cried, even my physiotherapist cried. That's how emotional it was. The day I was discharged on the 21st of April 2005, I wasn't pushed out in a wheelchair. I didn't walk out. I didn't jog out. I literally ran out of there. And the nurses gave me the guards for honours with crutches. My achievements continue at home. I learned to shower alone. I learned to shave again. I learned to make my own toasted sandwich. My folks didn't have to help me anymore. My feet weren't injured in the accident at all, but the messages from the left-hand side of my brain to the muscles, especially in my right foot, are not being sent right. My toes are dislocated. I've had many operations and even consulted a surgeon in South Africa on one of my stays. Unfortunately, nothing can be done. I have Botox in my toes to reduce the pain. I wear silicone orthotics, which has reduced the pain, but they still hurt most of the time. Because of my acquired brain injury, I'm actually half blind in both eyes, which means I will never ever be able to drive again. I was 2 months away from getting my Ps. What a bummer. I need transport to places and my family helped me with this. The accident has been life-changing for myself and for my family as well. I need constant reassurance, daily planning and motivation. It has taken an enormous toll on them. Initially, my friends were there for me for my 18th and 21st birthdays, but then they all disappeared. I'd not like that I lost all of my friends, but now I realised they had to get on with their lives. I was able to go to the 2010 Soccer World Cup in South Africa. I travelled with my uncle and stayed with family friends. I've travelled to South Africa a few times since then. When I was there in 2012, I did some volunteer work and made some new true friends. I wanted to see what the scar looked like. I sneakily went to the local barber and got my head shaved. I was shocked. When I was there, back there in 2013, I had the thrilling experience of skydiving. My current challenges are my memory loss, managing the pain in my foot, and organising my life, and dealing with my frustrations. I have to rest often to give my brain a break. These days, I talk to traffic offenders and high school kids as well. At the moment, I am looking for part-time work as well. I fatigue quite easily as well. I've started learning to cook to increase my independence. I go to the gym 3 times a week and mark the anniversary of my accident on Anzac Day by playing 2-up. Think twice who you get into a car with. Please do not speed. If you're ever placed in a situation where you don't feel safe, just ask the driver to pull over or to slow down. I don't want anyone to go through what I've been through. It's literally hell.
Very inspiring, very inspiring. What would have been different about your life if you hadn't had this accident?
Jamie, everything. I would have gone to university. I'd be working now for 8 years as an industrial designer for Honda. I wouldn't have lost all my friends. I wouldn't have lost respect for my sister. I'd definitely have at least one girlfriend.
How did the 2 girlfriend situation
honestly,
end up?
because of my long short-term memories, I can't remember. No.
Might have been probably a good thing in that
I
scenario.
wish I could, but yeah.
Yeah. And what about you? What's it like not being able to drive? Do you think you'll ever be able to drive a car again?
It's obviously annoying that I'll never be able to hop into my own car and go for a cruise, but 12 years down the line, I've accepted it.
What would you like everyone to remember about seeing your story?
Do not speed or drink under the influence, full stop. Drive under the influence, sorry.
Margaret and Joe, it must be wonderful to watch them improve and grow both emotionally and physically. What's the hardest part about your jobs?
I find it really frustrating when you're dealing with agencies who just don't understand or allow for people with disabilities. So these could be banks or telcos or other government agencies. People with brain injury can become easily confused and frustrated, and I feel really angry when people with brain injury are disadvantaged, bullied or abused because they're different from other people.
Really appreciate you guys coming in and sharing your stories, and hopefully we'll all learn something about it. Please join us for our next episode when we meet the inspirational Heidi, who has a story for us about how learning to live with a spinal injury she suffered in a road crash has changed her life. Before we go, I'd like to thank Woolworths Petrol for supporting us and for being our presenting partners. For more information on today's episode, please go to our website. Thanks for joining us today for this episode of Be Street Smart Online, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.